It appears that Crystal Palace are close to completing the signing of Queen's Park Rangers attacking midfielder Eberechi Eze. I say attacking midfielder, sometimes deployed on the left, sometimes deployed as attacking midfield. We've talked about him numerous times on this channel, but in short, he is a very talented player, possibly one of the best players in the Championship, and somebody we've been linked with throughout. And I say linked with, which is really what I want to get into at the crux of the matter on this, because people have been getting their knickers in a right twist that we appear to have missed out on this signing, or as a couple of people have reported, been outbid. Because I don't think we have been outbid, because I don't think we were ever bidding for him. In fact, I say knickers in a twist. There's been a lot of ramifications, been a lot of fallout, a lot of anger, let's say, all over social media about us not signing this player. And I'm not entirely sure we were ever in for him. Look, there's a lot of reasons to be disappointed at West Ham. They are too numerous to mention, and funnily enough, a lot of them will be coming up in another video very, very soon. But just dealing with this subject now, I almost want to separate whether we think he was a good idea for the team with realistically why it was never going to happen, this is a transfer. Because I think sometimes you tell yourself something so many times, or you hear something so many times, and it gets repeated over and over and over, that you start to believe it yourself. And that is, the narrative here was that Eberechi Eze was David Moyes' #1 target. Now, I think what plays into that is one of the main reasons why people are disappointed. The second reason is, realistically, the owners have no credit with the fan base whatsoever. We expect them to muck things up. We expect them not to back the manager. We expect, you look at the Willie Carvalho debacle, is all I can say, with a fax machine and all of that being sent over David Sullivan. I think that's our level of expectations. We just expect it as a deal to have mucked up. We expect Crystal Palace to be a slicker outfit than we are. And actually, in terms of organisation as a football club, I think they probably are better run than West Ham. But I don't think that's happening in this instance. Now, don't get me wrong. If I thought that we were going for Matty Cash, for instance, and I used that because he's a right back, and it's in a position that I think we desperately need to improve the team. If I thought we were going for him, and Crystal Palace were going for him, and Crystal Palace got him, then I would be very, very annoyed indeed. But I just think this wasn't something that was ever on the cards. Now, the funny thing is, when Moyes came in, Moyes did that interview, I'm a winning manager, and he said a lot of things, and a lot of people took the mickey out of him, and I understand that, because the phrase was quite vague, wasn't it? I think out of a certain number of managers, my winning percentage is sort of up there. Whatever he said, words to that effect, was very vague, it was imprecise, and he basically called himself a winner when really he's not been a winner for a little while. Cue much derision from the fan base. He also then suggested he would like the red ball model, but then went to try and quantify that by saying he wanted to get players from the Championships. Again, he was quite heavily derided for that, because actually getting players from the Championship, not the red ball model. But I think a majority of the fan base at the time, from what I could see, was saying, well, we don't want to do that. We don't want to just buy players from the Championship. That's the route to failure. Surely our scouting system should be better. We should be looking at players from Europe. We should be buying from Premier League teams. Has it got so bad that we can only afford players from the lower leagues? That's where I thought we were. And then I look to it now, where a lot of people are getting upset that we haven't purchased a player from the lower divisions, as good as he may turn out to be, in a position that we don't need. And I've read so many comments from people who were saying, we needed this player, we wanted this player, we've missed out on this player. And I just don't think any of those are true. I want to deal with a deal. I want to address the deal in just a second. But just looking at it, if what you want is two good wingers from the Championship, actually two of the best wingers last season were Jared Bowen and Grady Diangana, well, as things stand at the moment, we've got both of those. I don't think we need another one. I don't particularly want to go through the whole list of all the players that are available to play on the left, but they are numerous. We have numerous options there. But what happens is, we start to believe this is what Moyes wants. Why? Because we've heard it somewhere, because someone's written it, because someone said it. Well, actually, what we want to do is listen to the man himself, which is David Moyes. Because if you have listened to him, in the interviews that I've heard, both read and both listened to him when he's been doing press conferences, he is very much saying the same thing he said when he was manager the first time, which is, we don't seem to have a problem scoring goals. We need to sort it out at the other end. And everybody knows, what do we need? What do we need? A left winger or attacking midfielder? Or a left back? Or a right back? We need those. He's never really shifted from that. But for some reason, we get told that Eze's his number one target. And if I honestly thought that that's what we needed and Moyes had missed out on his number one target, I think I'd be a little bit miffed. Particularly, I do understand missing out to Crystal Palace on something. But let's just look at Crystal Palace for a second. Because Crystal Palace have gone and signed somebody. I don't know whether he's a replacement for Wilfried Zaha. I really don't know. But I think he may well do quite well there. I think under Roy Hodgson's formation, the way he plays, I think he's a good fit, quite possibly. But Crystal Palace have a surplus of cash. Now, I think if we'd have had a surplus of cash, then what we'd have done is we may have signed him as a luxury player. I think we might have got the centre-back, got the full-backs, and then maybe gone and got a striker or gone and got someone like Eze. But to do that, we would have had to have sold our prize asset, which was Declan Rice. Well, funny enough, Crystal Palace had a Declan Rice, and they sold him. It's just his name wasn't Declan Rice, it was Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And he's a right-back, as you know all this. And he went to Manchester United for 50 million. What did they then do? Nothing. They didn't buy a right-back. They left Kelly there or Ward there, and the fan base were not particularly happy about this. They only got Gary Cahill on a free, and they were paying him £100,000 a week. But the Crystal Palace fans, and my best mate's a Crystal Palace fan, by the way, they were very much felt that he was never replaced. They were actually quite angry with Steve Parish, the Crystal Palace chairman, for not spending the money. Crystal Palace fans saying, where's the money gone? Does it sound familiar? Well, actually, they didn't spend it. And that money's just sat in the bank, and that's 50 million. So they actually have the money there to go and make this deal happen. As I say, I think if they'd have been after a right back, and I think they'd have got him above us, I think it would have been an issue. But I can't see that this is in particular. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think we've got masses and masses of money. But I think there was an opportunity there with QPR. Had we have really wanted that particular player, we would have done a deal, a swap deal with Jordan Hugo. I think the very fact that we didn't do that suggests one of two things. Either QPR didn't want Jordan Hugo. Do we think that's the case? I don't think so. I don't think QPR are anywhere near good enough or anywhere close enough to automatic promotion for next season to discount somebody that scored them 10 to 15 goals last season. I think they would have wanted Hugo. But maybe, just maybe, we didn't include Hugo in the deal because we weren't after Eze. And you listen to what Moyes says again, like he said on the first time, which was we need to shore things up in the back. I'm looking for a few replacements. The one interview that I know David Sullivan has done, official interview, shall we say, officially unofficial, when someone asked, will West Ham be making signings this summer? He said one or two. The manager's let it known that defensive recruitments are his priority. So we've heard it from David Moyes, we've heard it from David Sullivan. Now, much as we might not like that, much we might have built up a mistrust towards him, then I have to go along with that. I have to sort of believe that, basically. And I just find it really, really funny that everybody is so disappointed at missing out on this player. And I think Sullivan's got to take his portion of the blame for that disappointment, because there's a massive case of, oh no, not again, we've lost out on another one, because we expect it. We expect the worst. We expect bad management. We expect a bad procedure when we try and sign players. Now, we don't know who David Moyes' first choice is. And I'm glad. That's good. Because I just don't think it's a healthy situation. We also know when David Moyes came in the first time, he wanted to put an end to this leak culture in the club of basically news getting out. Now, I think that is going to be hard because there's a lot of people in the club who like to have their voice heard or like to spill the beans, so to speak. But I think it's safe to assume if David Moyes didn't like the leaks happening the first time he was here, then he's got to like them now. So I think it's also safe to assume that maybe we just don't know who his top target is. Maybe that top target is not from the Championship. The recruitment of Thomas Souček from, was it Slavia Prague, was it? I think so. The fact that he was being scouted shows that there's not just this concentration and this focus on the Championship. It shows that maybe we can bring players in from other areas. Maybe we will be totally surprised. Maybe a right back will come in from the Spanish League or the Italian League that we've never heard of. I just think it is tough, and I do understand why people are getting a little bit upset. And as I say, there will be reasons to get upset, and they are numerous, and they are going to be they're going to be happening quite soon, because I do think that there's a real bandwagon rolling now. This whole GSB out thing is really starting to gain momentum. But I think when that happens, you can be guilty of seeing conspiracy and disappointment everywhere, and sometimes where there just ain't any. I said earlier on I wouldn't list it. I will. Fornals plays there. Anderson plays there. They can play in both positions, both of them. Lanzini can play left and centre. Diangana. It may well be that Michail Antonio plays on the left or just behind, tucked in behind Haller. I think it's safe to say we have 4 or 5 players competent and probably ready to fill the positions that Eze could fill. I would also argue that we have no players competent enough to play left back to start a Premier League season, but lots to play left wing or attacking midfield. It just stands to common sense that we weren't in for this guy. Is it good that Crystal Palace have got him? Would we have liked him? Yeah, maybe. It would have been nice. Would it have been good for him to come in and... I mean, look at the formation we played the other day. I mean, you realistically, you'd probably say he might have been playing in Diangana's position. Well, I don't particularly want that. I want Diangana to get a run. I just think we're all right. I don't see particular disappointment in this. Look, let's have a little look. And I do think when we get towards the end of the transfer window, and I don't want to get to there because I want us to sort this situation out before we get there. And on Saturday against Brentford, we're going to have a really good look at Rico Henry. We get a really good chance, hopefully, if he plays, a really good chance to have a good look at him. And maybe that's what Moyes wants to do. But maybe, just maybe, we've all got it wrong. And actually, it's not Rico Henry. It's not any left back or right back we even thought of. Maybe it's not Shane Duffy. Maybe it's none of these things. And I do hope that. But I just wanted to say I wouldn't be too disappointed that we've lost out on this player to Crystal Palace. I just think it was a position of strength for us.